evening, everyone. We'd like to welcome you to the regular meeting of the Nicholas County Board of Education, Monday, June 19th. And at this time, if you'll stand for a moment of silent reflection. Thank you. Please join the board with the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. First of all, Dr. Tetrick's not here tonight, and so Ms. Atkins is sitting in her spot. And the first thing we'd like to do is to approve the minutes of the meetings held on June 5th and June 9th, 2023.
The only thing I noticed on June 9th, when we discussed the four options or whatever, I didn't think they were complete from the standpoint that we talked about a K through 5 and a 6 through 8, and he talks about that we just discussed a K through 8. And that was one thing that I really noticed, because it kind of cut short a little bit where it said that I was a little concerned about the delays. And that had to do with if you did a K through 8. But other than that, I didn't have any other comments on that.
Well, I
mean, if you're all fine with it, I'm fine with it.
I believe her option is going to be the K5 and the 6-8 when she brings it back to us. That's all that matters, correct?
I can add to it. I mean, I just went by the notes that Misty took. And I can listen to it and add more.
We're going to present one option, aren't we?
When July 3rd, I guess it'll be up to Mr. Beam and the lawyer to Mrs. Nortz to present those to us
For our approval.
Right.
Right.
And we'll have to pick the order we want to present them in. And
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, she stated that they wanted more than one option. FEMA did.
yeah. The only thing, well,
I'm fine with not amending the minutes if you guys are fine with it, but we didn't. That was the option I think that we ended up with. In fact, I think Kristen even made that point to make sure that that's what we talked about. So,
well, then I would recommend that you change. I wasn't here, but I'd recommend that you
change
make that
minutes.
change. Yeah.
Just
back
pull
and
those.
listen. Yeah, we were talking about.
Just pull those ones.
Okay.
We won't vote on those till next time.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to table the June 9th minutes, and of course you can go back and listen. And, all right, so how about a motion on the June 5th amendments, or 5th minutes? Anything on the June 5th minutes?
Give me just a second. Mine keeps disappearing. But, okay.
Did we start putting in a number of attendees, like you said, members of public, 62? Have we done that before?
We've been doing it.
Oh, have we? Okay.
Yeah. They wanted it for, Dr. Lee wanted it for something that,
Oh, okay.
that they work on.
I think it has something to do with our strategic plan.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Okay, do we have a motion to accept June 5th minutes as presented?
I'll make the motion.
Mr. Green makes a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Berry. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. That takes us to action items. Approval of continued contract with Rebecca Campbell, LLC Behavior Analyst.
That's just a continuation of contract. We've worked with her since 2016, and we hired her out of a mediation agreement that we had at that time.
Okay. Anybody have questions for Ms. Young on that? Thank you. Approval of Nicholas County Board of Education Policy 5136, personal communication devices at high schools and career center. Ms. Atkins.
Yes, actually both of these policies were out on comment. If you'll recall, we have middle schools and high schools wanted to handle cell phones a little bit differently. So these policies were developed in consultation with them. We had 2 comments. The comments didn't specify which of the policies that they were commenting on, but those have been uploaded to your packets. One comment didn't feel like we needed to allow kids to have cell phones at school, period. And the other thought maybe it would be a good idea to provide some sort of training to students and their parents regarding the impacts of social media on students, particularly in the younger ages. So if you have any comments or questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Did you say those were in our packet?
Yes.
I didn't see anything.
Yeah, that's where I opened it from. Well, that's really weird because it's in mine.
Yeah, I think we had papers on that a couple weeks ago, I think.
We did, but I'm not real sure why you can't. I mean, I loaded them this morning. And it's absolutely on mine, so I don't know what you want to table them till the next time?
Y'all want to table it next time?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't, let's
Sure.
just table it.
That's really weird.
Both of them?
I think it's best, yes.
Okay.
Technology.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Blame Chris Hanshaw.
He's not here today.
I know. Okay, so we'll table,
Both, I could be both of those.
we tabled the minutes from the 9th,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to table B.
And see.
And C.
All right, thank you. Discussion action on replacement of board member Penix on the construction committee. So what that is, every Monday at 1:30, there's a call, and basically they just tell you where we are on the projects, and then that usually Dr. Tetrick, that Monday, she goes over what was discussed that evening on the board meeting. So anyway, it's at 1:30 every Monday. We did not have it today because of the holiday. And so do we have a motion? Somebody interested in being on that?
I'm gonna suggest to Steve, because he has construction, a lot of construction. You know, and I don't know why 3 people can't sit there.
Well, if you have 3 people, then you're
I
gonna, then you have a
understand.
board meeting and you're gonna run into, you're gonna have to notice the meeting every time you have a call.
Technically you can, but
Who's the call with?
The call is with Skanska and, not with the contractors.
Not CME?
No. Oh, yes,
ZMM
yes,
is Skanska.
ZMM. But Skanska runs the meeting. And basically, they go through the pay applications and tell us, you know, what's been okayed up to the point, and, you know, if someone's waiting on a payment, they explain where it's at and all that. Right, Kevin?
Yes.
So basically, and that's the gist of the whole thing. They do tell us, you know, if there's any problems, they'll mention them, but it doesn't, you know, it's kind of it can be an aggravation sometimes. I mean, when you're trying to work, but anyway, I try to join it every Monday. I don't always make it, but pretty much I do.
Well, I appreciate Mr. Berry's confidence and comments. I'll do whatever the board wants to do. If Mr. Moose would like to stay on, I have no problem with that. I still plan to be involved in the construction. I do think that's kind of, you know, what I bring to the table, but I'm fine working any way the board wants me to work.
I have no
Very
objection.
clear.
I have no objection.
So you're good with Mr. Ferguson?
Sure.
Okay, so, somebody want to put that in motion?
We're going to do that separate from the others.
No, we don't need to do that separate, I don't
I
think.
can just include his name in the
Yeah.
minutes, if you want to do it that way, unless you want it pulled separate.
It might be better to pull it separately.
Yeah,
to be
because,
clear.
yeah, we need a motion of
Procedurally.
yes, let's pull it separately. Let's go ahead and do it now.
Okay.
Okay, so,
I'm gonna make that motion.
if you'd like to make that motion,
Okay, I make a motion, Mr. Ferguson be on the planning committee,
construction committee.
construction.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Green. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Okay, so D's taken care of. So E, approval to continue contract with Russell and Linda Johnson, and that is in your packet.
Yes, and that, we do this every year. I believe this is the one for the field there near the school for the band to practice.
Oh, yeah. There'd be a beaver.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a field across from where the band practices.
Yeah.
Price is right.
Yeah, yeah, the price has always been right.
And it's the same lease that we've had.
They had, well, we had some negotiations with them a couple of a couple of years ago, and they were satisfied, and it looks like they were satisfied. They signed it. They've been great.
Yes.
Any questions about that? Okay, if not, let's have a motion on action items A, which is the approval of the continued contract with Rebecca Campbell. And then E, approval to continue contract with Russell and Linda Johnson. So a motion on A and E.
So moved.
Mr. Moose makes a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Ferguson. All in favor? Aye. And so, consent items. Mr.
right, first thing on the finance agenda is payment of current invoices. My copy had a few duplicates in there. I don't know if they made it through to you guys or not, same check register a couple times. Those are all the checks that we've written, and I handed a few out that we had written this past week.
Yeah, there was repeat
Yeah,
on some of
I'm
them.
not sure. I think I had a copy, and then first was given another copy, and it all went in the same file.
Got the 3 copies of the same one.
What do we pay the Veterans Park for?
The Veterans Park,
Yeah,
$6,000.
Yeah.
For parking around the stadium.
for parking around the stadium? Is that a
They-
month or what?
That's a year.
Oh,
Yeah, but we got in the stadium and everything inside the fence. We don't own the parking lot.
You're looking at about a month or so ago, do you think? Contract with that?
Yeah.
We approved that about a month ago.
That's been going on since the stadium was built properly, hasn't it?
Yes.
I'm just curious, the gravel and stuff, because they re-gravelled it and stuff. Is that something the park does, or is that an expense on the board in addition to the lease? You know? I know that they've done some upgrades to that park, they've put a lot of gravel on it.
We have put gravel on it in the past, just because it was so bad, but technically, they're supposed to gravel.
This last time they did it, we didn't put any of that gravel down.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
I couldn't hear what he said.
The park put some down this time. We didn't put any down this recent.
I have an ear stopped up in addition to my tinnitus, so yell at me, okay?
Any other questions on payment of current invoices?
There was one on there for water. For summer school. Is that what it was for?
That was a bottled water,
I'm guessing.
Crest Supply maybe.
Yeah, how much was it?
We do buy a lot of bottled water. And they could use that if they're on a field trip or
Practice,
practice.
practice.
I'm not sure with the summer program exactly what that water was for, but I know if there's water advisories, boil
Yes, that's
advisories, in those situations, we try to get the schools enough water to, since we have to shut water fountains down.
It's coming out of federal programs, so it's for one of their activities that they've had.
It just looked like it was awful high to me. Wasn't it like $5,000 or
No,
something?
it's 546.
Maybe I read it wrong.
You just got excited.
Okay.
It's on the food
Yeah,
service.
546. Yeah. And it says for summer program field trips.
Does the amount paid to the SESC vary by month or, by 9 week? It says we paid them $58,500, about $58,500.
It could vary from month to month. Just depends on the hours
On
they
the
work.
employees and,
Yeah.
okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Mhm.
Now, we have one less contract with them, correct?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
And on these payments to ZMN, I know they submit, now that's what you all discuss on Monday, right? They submit,
We don't discuss their payments. We discuss,
And the contractor pays.
yeah, the contractor, when they turn in like so much work they've done.
Like human age.
And, yeah, and it'll go through the process, and then they'll tell us where it's at, whether sometimes it's at a certain level, sometimes it's, the check's been mailed, but anyway.
okay, so you know what the money's for by the end of that
Oh, yeah.
discussion?
Yeah, it's,
Yeah.
pay application, such and such, yeah. There's no way, and I know you're not saying that, but there's no way that.
No, I'm just.
I know
I'm
there's
just
people out in
saying.
the public that say, what happened to all the money? The money's accounted for.
Yeah, that has to go through about 3 or 4 different processes.
Yeah, not only do the
Just make
contract
payments.
payments go through that whole process, but all the payments to ZMM goes through that same process.
Yeah.
So it's all looked at about 4 or 5 times.
Including by the SBA, correct? SBA looks at it.
SBA,
SBA,
emergency management, FEMA, state.
State auditor.
Is there a set contract with ZMM?
Yes.
And is it a percentage of the job?
No,
It's a
FEMA doesn't allow any percentage, it's all in fixed contract.
That's good.
Originally, well, go ahead. Originally, it said something like $6 million, but it far exceeds that.
Their current contract is approximately 8.7, I believe, from memory.
But you
There's
had-
been about 11 different amendments.
yeah, you've had changes. Every time we have a change, it's going
I
on.
know, what's the point?
Yeah, we've completely redrawn it twice, haven't we? Or 3 times? The Glade Creek project.
A couple.
Oh, yeah.
All right, any other questions on current payment of current invoices?
So payment supplements and transfers is the next item, and if this is our last board meeting in June, it's the last opportunity for us to supplement or make any transfers in our budget for this fiscal year. And so there's a lot of cleanup supplements and transfers in here, and I'll run through those briefly with you. The Almost Heaven Swing project, we supplemented our budget by $35,000 for that. They ordered more swings for the state. Policy 5,000, there's a supplement of $2,603.07. Our tax projections, we are estimating that we're going to collect approximately just over $1.4 million in addition to what we budgeted. So that's going to help any over expenditures we might have in any different program functions. And so we budgeted that mainly into instructional salaries, but also into some alternative learning and vocational programs. We're also going to increase our interest budget by $89,000. We had a $1,500 rental. We'll supplement our budget for that with that. E-rate, which is our federal reimbursement for our data lines, we need to supplement our budget by about $171,000. Insurance payments, $4,300 for some miscellaneous payments. I'm sorry, this says insurance. It is dental optical insurance, so we'll supplement our budget for that. The next area is other LEA payments, increased enrollments and early retirement bonus. So additional state aid from the state, $117,105. A decrease in the amount of indirect cost. We had budgeted a certain amount for the year based upon what we thought we might spend. However, we didn't spend all of those funds, so therefore it's going to be an overall decrease in that budget for this year. However, we'll probably spend it next year, and those funds, that indirect cost, will be allowable. Student activity, which is just reimbursement from the schools for student functions, field trips, and so on, $75,000. We still have a claim out on the Richwood High School wind damage at the modulars, and we are expecting them to write us a check for $10,535, so we'd like to supplement our budget for that. After school program, we're just transferring some salaries around from instructional salaries into like an after school program function, a total of $28,997. The JROTC program, $19,967. Those are funds received from the Army for minimum instructor pay.
Kevin, do we have instructors now? Are we okay with the, or are we short?
We're short one.
Short, okay. So, and we're gonna have to get that one to have the program, is that correct? Or-
We've had some substitutes that have filled in. I mean, ideally, we want to get it filled, and we thought we had it filled, and the person resigned really before they even took the position.
I know we had
So,
some trouble, but the Army got real fussy with that.
yeah. So far, I haven't, I'm not aware of that.
Haven't heard
but-
anything, yeah. Okay.
Next area is National Student Lunch Program, and that total is $562,000, and that's for food reimbursements from the federal government. Summer food program, $29,299, again, food reimbursements. The CACFP grant, $52,506, again, food service. And then the next one is the flood modulars and expenses. And so our modulars, we've not received, our payments have exceeded what the amount of FEMA has forwarded to us on that since they've been extended for so long. And so the first two lines there, the $134,000, and then the next one, $1.2 million, we're going to supplement that budget because we've made a request for FEMA to not only reimburse us the 90%, but we've also projected what those potential costs are going to be for the next 3 years, and we've asked for them to forward the 90% for the next 3 years. And so there will be a little bit of paperwork transferred around to get that in place, but those funds should arrive hopefully sometime this summer. And then the third line there, $894,000, that is expenditures that are in, we've been keeping track of those expenditures separately. Again, same scenario, they are different PWs that we've had expenses on that we're expecting reimbursement. Or it could also be some expenses that we don't expect to be reimbursed for. But we're keeping track of all the FEMA flooding-related expenses. And so we need to supplement our budget in that line so that everything is nice and clean for year end.
90% that the federal FEMA reimburses, the other 10% come from local funds or from the state?
From the state. Then finally, well, in this section, the Career Center had professional development grant, $5,803. The next one is Project Lead the Way, and they have two grants there, one for $14,889 and another one for $10,000. Both are supplemented into supplies. Invest conference stipends, $3,250. We received a grant for that, so we supplement our budget for that. Special ed out-of-county placement money is $9,592. And a very small reimbursement from the state, $172 for international teachers meeting. And then Tools for Schools grant, $117,020 for technology hardware, followed by NSLP equipment grant, which is $10,970, and that's a food service program. And then charter schools, we had to we had to, here, we actually increased our revenues by $20,084 for FY23 to cover those tuitions for charter schools.
We don't have it here in the county, do we?
We have, they consider
So
students
the
that take
homeschool?
virtual, that's part of the virtual program, they are considered a charter school expenditure. Then we had a $16,226 adjustment for a decrease in our PEIA allocation. And then Save the Children grant, $225. Those are all your supplements and transfers. Should get everything in place for your end. Any questions on those? All right, so this is our May Treasurer's Report. And so we'll be working on our financial statements as of June 30th next, and then there'll be a little dry spell on your Treasurer's Report until about October, on your monthly Treasurer's Report. And so in October, we'll present you your June 30th financial statement, and then we'll start the monthly Treasurer's Reports again. So through May, everything looks really well. As I said, the first page there are your revenues for the general fund, and you can see we've collected 112% of our budget on the general and the regular levy taxes. We also have June that will need to be added to that. Then for the most part, everything is in pretty good shape. There are a couple lines there that we will be an accounting entry at the end of the year, and so it'll bring that 86.4% up, closer to 100. Some areas we have received more than what we budgeted, as you can see, and some are relatively close. So $39.3 million budget. That's an operating part of our general fund, and then you can see the 8.4 and a 12.5. Those are reserves in our fund balance, and if you add that to what's available for our budget, it's a grand total of $60,359,535.53 budget. We've received $33.8 million, which would leave about $26.4 million yet to receive, but of course some of that is what we have in reserves. So overall, we've collected realistically about 86% of our operating budget. On the next page, we don't have a debt service fund at this time. Our capital projects fund, which is our construction project, Steve, our system is pretty old, like 1991 old, and so it doesn't really, every year we have to supplement in a new budget, and so where you would normally, you would probably like to see, or you would think that you would see a total budget there of $177 million. That's not how our system works. We carry in what budget is available as of July 1. So July 1 of 2022, the budget available for our construction project was $157,307,000, and of that budget, we've requisitioned and received $10.6 million, which leaves about $146 million in cash left in the project to receive. At the bottom of that page, we break our cash down into funds. Fund 11 is our general fund. Fund 14 was the old RESA fund. Fund 21 is the old debt service fund. Fund 51 is where you'll find all of our capital projects, and that's where our building projects are at this time. Fund 61 is our special revenue, which is all federal and state grants. Fund 64 is also a RESA fund that we no longer use. And Fund 71 is where the federal stimulus funds are being accounted for. So to the right of that, we break down the actual cash in our general ledger in each one of those funds. And, Fund 61 and Fund 71 are in a negative simply because they are on a reimbursement method. And so we incur the expenditure before we request the revenues. To the right of that, you can see, I'm sorry, but back up there. So $25,767,092.72 is the current cash as of May 30th. And to the right of that, you can see how we have those funds invested in different banks. So we're limited in how we can invest our funds. It has to be a West Virginia bank or a bank in West Virginia. So it's all for the State Board of Investments, it's really pretty limited in how we can invest those funds. But we do shop rates and invest to get the best rate available.
What's BB&T paying on your checking or say? Are they paying on your checking? Like
They
money
do,
market account?
they do.
4 1/4, 4 1/2,
No,
Not that high?
no. What was our current rate last, do you remember, Kristen?
It was like 1 something.
Yeah, it was real low last year, but these last 2 or 3 months, they should be paying about 4, 4 1/4, 4 1/2. That's a lot of money. I mean, you definitely want to look at that or ask them on that. I'm sure they'll.
They are supposed to monitor that and then adjust it according to the Fed funds. As it goes up, it's supposed to rise.
Oh, okay, if it's on the floating Fed fund, it'll automatically come on.
Okay, so then that is our revenues, and then, well, there's some more revenues. The next page is our special revenue account, and as you can see, $9.3 million budget. We've received 6.4. We have about $2.9 million yet to receive, or we've received approximately 69%. And again, those are on a reimbursement basis. And then our federal stimulus funds, $14 million budget. We've received $2.6 million this year and have about 11.4 available. Some of those funds will expire and have to be obligated in September of this year, and then the majority of those will need to be liquidated by the end of next year. On the expense side, for the general fund, you can see again a $60 million budget. We've expended $28.3 million. We have over $7 million worth of payroll encumbered, which leaves about $24.9 million available, most of which is in what makes up our fund reserves. So we have committed approximately 59% of our general fund budget through May. On the next page is the Capital Projects Fund, $157 million budget. We've expended $7.7 million. We have $51.7 million encumbered, which leaves an approximate balance of $97,793,791.54. Special Revenue Fund on the expense side, $9.3 million. We've expended $7.4 million. We have $1.6 million encumbered, which leaves $371,000 available. And then finally, the stimulus funds, $14 million budget. We've expended $2.2 million. We have $2.7 million encumbered, which leaves about $9 million of the stimulus funds available through May, as of May 30th. Any questions on those, on the Treasurer's report? Item 4, contracts. First contract is with TSS Photography for Summersville Elementary photography services for next year. Then we had a straggling Appalachian Office Product contract, and that's with Nicholas County High School. And then the next 4 contracts are preschool and contracts that we have with Nicholas County Head Start, And the food program, the food services that we have with them.
Kevin, but why is the photography contract not signed by the people at the school? Ordinarily, they're always signed.
The schools, they acquire the bids, and they're not allowed to approve any contracts at all, so they'll acquire them, and they'll review them and make a recommendation to us, and then I formally ask the board to approve the contract.
Okay, that's their recommendation, even though they haven't signed.
Yes.
Okay.
Got it. They send their recommendation out to me, usually via email.
Yeah, thank you.
So again, we have the Head Start program, and we have a cooperative agreement with them to help support our pre-K program. And I didn't highlight the amount, but it's $190,000 is what we will pay them for the upcoming school year. And again, there's a lot of give and take on that. They provide teaching services and aid services and different requirements for preschool, playground equipment. We've had a cooperative here in the county for a couple of decades, and so we help them and they help us. There's also, they pay for meals. Since they are at most of our schools, they reimburse us for meal costs, and so there's a contract in there for that. And then we also have a part of the cooperative is the Friends of Fun, and we purchase meals from them to feed our students that are at that location, so there's a meal contract in there for that. And then we also pay them, I'm trying to put my finger on that. Seems like it's in the $90,000 or so. It's in your, it's in part of our budget. I think I can't put my finger on it this time, but. And what it pays for is a teacher and an aide that they provide for the preschool classroom at that location. Item E is our contract with Assured Partners. They provide our loss control and risk management, and they are a big factor in our success, helping reduce our workers' comp rates, and that contract is for a total of $15,000. And that is for monthly meetings. They inspect and give us a full report of every facility and every location of the board. They also do some reporting, year-end reporting for us as well. And item 5 is a few items of surplus property. And then item 6 is to accept the bids on a couple of trucks. And so we put that out for bid. Since I find I can talk about it. We received 4 bids, and this is for 2 trucks. They're 3/4-ton trucks. And you know, our ultimate goal is to use the trucks for their lifespan for our transportation and maintenance folks, and then eventually those trucks will work their way into a snowplow truck. And so that's kind of been our goal over the past several years. I'll maybe able to give you some more details about the truck, but basically they're a 3/4-ton truck. Did they have a work bed already on it?
In the bid, they can come with the mechanical bed already installed on it. We didn't bid it out, but the last time we had a bed put on it, we had to meet low quote, and we ended up getting a really, really terrible bed. And so with this, we kind of get the bed we want. It kind of comes turnkey with it, and we get something that's going to last.
So the bids were all relatively close. Low bid came in at $151,104, and that was for 2024.
24s, yeah.
24 trucks. And one of those trucks will be used in the transportation department. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then, 90% of that cost will be reimbursed for that truck. Item B is some out-of-state travel. If you have any questions on that.
Can we back up to contracts for just a second?
Sure.
So that contract with I noticed it said safety services. And it said, conduct monthly safety committee meetings with staff. So they actually do that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not, they
Not
have
at
a
the school level.
county safety meeting.
At the county level.
We have gone out to different schools and participated in their school safety meetings, but we haven't done that a lot. Yeah, it's the county safety committee.
Well, the reason I asked was I was on the Panther Creek Safety Committee for years, and that's the first I'd heard of that.
Somebody that wasn't there that was supposed to be.
We must have been safe. All right.
You just missed it. We went to Panther Creek this year and did a fire drill. We did one out there. We tried to pick a different school to go visit. And
Okay.
Panther Creek was this year, so you just missed about a couple of years.
That's fine.
We started going, we've done that for a couple of years, having just a surprise visit to the school and then pull a fire alarm and block some exits just to see how the school would react and students react. And then they've done great every single time, so.
Okay. All right.
That's 15,000 for that group.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And they come and inspect and do all the write-ups and all that.
We get a full report every month of the facilities that he's reviewed that month. Back years ago, we started a program to help reduce our workers' comp rates. We were paying well over $500,000 a year just in comp rates. And our EMOD was like 1.74, which means that we were 0.75 worse than the average Board of Education. And last year, our EMOD, I think, was like 0.7. So we have come a long way in the last 20, it's taken us 20 years, but our comp rates are, it's like $100,000 or so. So we've saved close to $500,000 a year in just putting in place some of these safety protocols. And, when we see issues, we fix them, and that saves on employee injuries.
They do trainings too.
Pardon?
They also do some of our trainings.
They do, yeah. Some safety
Yeah, my
training.
experience with that is documentation, to get that thing right. If you have these training programs and you document it and stuff,
Mhm.
it can go a long way with getting that rate down.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
It's been very profitable for us.
Okay, any other discussion on finance or out-of-state rental and travel request?
Just a minor thing there, on the out-of-state Mullins puts mileage at 58.5, and Dorsey and Lee put it at 65.5.
Yeah, I
Should there
noticed
be a-
that last night.
Should there be a difference?
There's not, she'll be reimbursed at the.
And the per diem,
At the
is there
per
a
diem
difference
amount.
there? Huh?
She'll be reimbursed at the per diem amount, which is 65.5. She's,
Well, mileage is 65.5, per diem either 64 or 79. One says 64 per diem, one says 79, they're going to the same place, same amount of time. Mullins and Dorsey,
yeah. You have their travel request.
right here.
I got it. Okay. For meals.
We do have a set per diem, don't we?
There is a per diem rate, and they're not reimbursed for any more than they're allowed. They're permitted 75% of the daily per diem on the day of travel and the day of return. And then, so if they're spending overnight, they get the full per diem amount. And this is what they fill out, so their rates that they came up with may not be accurate.
Not what you give them, right?
Right, right. So we audit every single travel that comes in and make sure that they are getting paid the correct
Okay.
rates.
It was confusing, I was just curious.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We check every single one of them.
Okay, do we have a motion to accept finance items 1, 2, 3, 4? Contracts under 4 is A, B, C, D, E. 5 surplus, 6 accept bids on the 2 trucks, and B is out-of-state rental travel request 1, 2, and 3. Do we have a motion to accept those?
Make that motion.
Mr. Mayor makes a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Green. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, personnel.
Yeah, I just passed out an updated personnel agenda to you. I will read the changes. A copy has been made available to the press and to the public. On the front page there, Cindy Loss, employee in the position of 6th grade teacher for Summersville Middle School, effective with the start of the 23-24 school year. We pulled the positions of the itinerant flex special education teacher. We could possibly have a recommendation for that. But here, Mr. Reese, right here. I passed it out.
Oh,
Sneaked it in.
I did. I loaded it to your board packet, and for some reason, it's not showing up for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So we may have a recommendation for that special education teacher at the next meeting. We're going to be reposting the flex teacher at Cherry River Elementary. Under service, the candidate that's on that list for bus 115 withdrew his name for consideration about 10 minutes before the meeting started. So we're going to pull that. Then Patricia Bennett, employing the position of bus operator for bus 138, effective with the start of the 23-24 school year. Then on page 2, Mary Tennell, employing the position of assistant cross-country coach at Summersville Middle School, effective upon the completion of any applicable WVSSAC, WVDE requirements. Pulled the summer bus operator, the overflow position there, and then under consent, April Ramsey resigns her position as substitute bus operator for Nicholas County Schools, effective June 16th, 2023.
Under consent, why are you resigning on July the 8th instead of, why is that date? It says July the 8th.
Yeah.
It's just the day you can resign on any day you want.
Well, we have a meeting right before that, don't we?
Third. Yes, you'll be at that meeting, right?
Actually, I have vacation that week.
Are you thinking it has to be like June 30th? No, I mean, that's like Kevin's was July 18th or something, 14th.
I wish my employees would give me that kind of notice. A lot of times they just don't show up.
Here today, gone tomorrow.
Any other comments or questions on the personnel agenda? Do we have a motion to accept the personnel agenda as presented? I make a motion. Mr. Green makes a motion. Mr. Green? Second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Moose. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, superintendent's information, construction planning, architectural update.
She didn't provide me with an update.
Okay, well, the meeting was canceled today, so. Reports, SESC.
I did actually talk to Jason Butcher with the Southern Educational Service Cooperative, and gave me a pretty good summary of what they were going to do. Their meeting has been postponed this month. It won't be till the end of July. They told me he'd send me some information on it. And I explained to him that with Mr. Penixon's resignation, I was going to sit in on a call or two. So, but I had a good conversation with him, explained a lot about it. Like the mission.
All right, Bright Horizons, Mr. Green?
We have a meeting on Thursday.
Meeting Thursday, okay. Delegations?
No.
Items for future agendas. I do have an item for a future agenda. I'll have to send you that. I wrote it down. Anyway, it's just a presentation. Anybody else? Items for future agendas? Future meeting dates, special meeting Thursday, June 29th, 2023 at New River Community and Technical College here in Summersville, starting at 10:30 a.m. Regular meeting Monday, July 3rd, here at the board office, and next regular meeting Monday, July 17th at the board office. Anything else?
Can you kind of just update summary from what you think the next steps are on the construction project? We had the meeting on June 9th, a working session. And then the architects will work on some estimates.
ZMM and our lawyer, Marissa Nords from Steptoe Johnson, they're going to get together, and they're supposed to present that to us prior to July 3rd.
Prior to July 3rd, and then the superintendent, the new superintendent, would make a recommendation to this board at that time.
Right.
Is that what we
Right.
think is going to happen? I just want to kind of get the sequence going.
So to present, which one was in the FEMA?
Which one or ones?
Ones.
And the order of them. And
Yeah.
I may not make that meeting on June 29th. If I can, I will. If I can.
You'll be there in spirit.
Yeah, I'd like to be here. We'll see.
Okay.
That's just a day or two after this procedure. So.
Well, if you need somebody to come get you, I'll come get you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I may not be able to do that. Okay, appreciate it.
Anything else? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I make that motion.
Second? Second by Mr. Green. All in favor? Aye. At 7:01.